All right, everyone. We are live once more from the Funcom office here in Oslo. My name is Jens Erik. I am your community manager, and I am joined for the it's the second or third time on stream for you, Alex.
Hello, I'm Alex.
Yes,
I think it's second time.
You appeared briefly at the end of our combat live stream, way before we launched in early access, because you were one of our play testers for that stream. But Alex, who is now lead designer.
Hello.
On Conan Exiles.
Yes.
You used to be senior designer,
yes.
I think. Yes. Yep. And now you've been
promoted,
bumped up.
Exactly.
Basically. Yeah. So, are you excited, Alex?
I'm actually nervous.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. I've done this a couple of times.
Yeah.
I'm actually nervous every time. At least I think I'm nervous every time, but I'm nervous. We're good.
It's fine. I'm always a little nervous before these things start. Like you feel it, like down in your stomach a little bit, like the tickle. Yeah. All right, but see, everyone is very happy about your promotion to lead designer. Everyone's really happy about the things that we're going to
see what happens.
Let's see what happens
after the stream.
All right. So, as many of you already know, we're going to talk about some stuff that's coming in our next update. And just to sort of, I guess, cut the snake head off immediately, we are not going to talk about mounts. We have no news to share about mounts, at the risk of sounding like a broken record. We're also not going to be talking about new maps or anything like that, because a lot of people are asking about maps. So we're not going to be talking about new maps. But what we are going to talk about is some various things that I personally think...
They miss Joel?
Yeah, some people do miss Joel. And, you know, maybe we'll have Joel back someday. But Joel is still at Funcom. He is still creative director. He's just
hidden.
He's just hidden. He has his own office now with a plaque on it that says Wanker as his title. We are also not going to be talking about sorcery, by the by, because, you know, people are always asking about that as well.
No magics.
And no, Alex did not kill Joel for this job. That's not how we do things at Funcom.
No, we do judo
instead. We do judo instead. That's true. All right. So, without further ado, I think we can start to basically quickly summarize what we're going to talk about today, and then we're going to switch over to the game, and then we're just going to jump right into it. So, we're going to talk about Update 37, which includes some new weapons, new weapon types, a short sword, and something that people have been asking about for a while, two-handed great axes, which finally making it in. We are going to talk about something called battle standards, which I know a lot of people on PvE and PvEC servers are going to enjoy. We're going to talk about some animation changes for certain weapons. We're going to talk about new mod kits, not dev mod, but like weapon mod and armor mod kits. And next week, at least that's the plan. For now, we're going to show off the DLC, which is planned for release early September. And then all the stuff you're going to see here is also planned for early September. We're not going to commit to a date.
Say no date. Give no date.
Yeah, but early September. I think maybe Natasha committed to a date last time, but I don't remember.
But did she?
She might have, actually. And this chat has now frozen, so I'm just going to close this client and open it back up again. All right, and then if we have time, we're going to do some Q&A stuff afterwards, and Alex can answer all your questions.
I don't know about all, but
we'll
be selectively picking them.
Yes, we will be selectively picking questions that we can answer. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to jump us into the game
mode.
Yes, game mode. All right, so first off that we're going to talk about is the new weapons, which I have placed in this chest right here. So, first off is the short sword. Which,
exactly. Right.
Alex has more information about, I believe.
So this is not a reuse of existing content. This is a brand new weapon that we're going to be putting into the game.
Yep.
For a very specific play style. As I'm sure everyone here knows on stream, the combat system runs on the concept of hitboxes interacting with actors. Most of our weapons have pretty what's a nice way of putting it? Exaggerated hitboxes.
Right.
For example, we swing left to right, we hit a lot of stuff, including our friends.
Yes.
So,
and that's been the thing that's come up a bunch of times with people.
One of the ways we thought one of the things we thought we're gonna give to the people is a way to do damage and hopefully not hurt your friends as much. Excuse me. And this short sword is a single-handed weapon with the goal of being primarily a friend group weapon where you can do damage and not make your friends unhappy with you.
Yes. So the idea of the short sword is to do damage in a very small cone around you.
Exactly.
Which means that whenever I swing the sword, I either poke with it or I swing it in a downward arc.
Exactly.
Now these are the light attack. This is the light attack combo, which is a thrust and a forward, and then I'm gonna actually turn on stamina.
Endless stamina.
Yeah. And so this basically continues until I've run out of stamina or until someone misses me and they, dodge around and hits me in the back. This is coming in update 37 alongside with the Blood and Sand DLC. I know I saw a couple of people in chat were disappointed that there was no mounts in something called Riders of Hyboria. Riders of Hyboria has been pushed back to a later date, so the next DLC is going to be Blood and Sand, which we're bundling in with update 37, just so everyone's clear on that. And then on the right trigger, it is essentially the same kind of attack, but
it's more exaggerated gap closes with a predominant focus on delivering your effect in a very, very tight space.
Yes. And so you might recognize that I have this lunge attack, which I also have on the longsword, but this is a lot longer. I feel like personally at least, I feel like I have
I don't remember the distance because I think the combination of the jump, the forward acceleration, and the length of the blade might actually be better. But I don't remember off the top of my head. It's something that we're going to be playing with in between just to see exactly where we want it to land.
Right. So at the moment, it is a weapon meant to close distance and to do some swings, and then maybe if you're maybe once you're in there, you can start doing some decent damage against your opponents.
Exactly.
And so
and not hitting your friends.
But it's also it's a good idea to sort of watch out where everyone else is sitting. So
situational awareness.
Yep. All right. It also comes in metal and iron and star metal variants, and then in the Blood and Sand DLC there will also be some variants for the short sword that you can pick up. So look forward to that, most likely next week. But speaking of hitting your friends,
this is a nice one.
Thank you.
This is the nice one. I like the transition.
You're welcome. What if I just want to just do a lot of damage around me?
You mean like you want to keep swinging?
Yes, I just want to keep swinging over and over and over.
Would you like
again.
to keep winning while you're swinging?
Yes, absolutely.
I don't know. They might be ready for it.
I think they might be ready for it. All right. So, two-handed axes, which also come in iron and star metal variety. I think this looks really cool. This is a really nice, just chunky looking battle axe. Absolutely.
It's so shiny.
Let's see. There it is. No, there it is. And so both of them sort of work on the same principle in that you have two attacks in your combo, and you can sort of hit them over and over and over and over again. What was the impetus behind that decision?
So we wanted to give, we wanted players to use their character progression, specifically the amount of stamina that they have, the choice to customize their character in a specific way to change or to encourage a certain playstyle. For example, if I have lots of stamina, this is potentially something that I like to use.
Yeah.
Right? And how we configured here. Good.
We're pretty good in terms of stamina.
It's about, sure. Yeah. So this is very much a trope and very much a fantasy. You are a wild barbarian, and as a wild barbarian, you want to swing an axe wildly around yourself.
And that is exactly what you're doing with the two-handed great axe. So this is more of it's your standard chopping motion, but you do have a pretty good swing on this thing. Any sort of buff or debuff you do while you're swinging?
So we're trying to be very, very careful with both these weapons, right?
Yeah.
So one of the approach that we're taking so far is that generally speaking, we're going to release something a little bit under the baseline. For example, they don't have any effects on them yet.
Yep.
We're going to put them into the game, see where they land in terms of their animations, frame hitboxes, and all this stuff along those lines. And then, based on feedback, see if we want to pull them in this direction or that direction, so on and so forth, right? So these can obviously, you can apply things to them. You can apply poisons and whatever else to these weapons.
Yeah.
And they will still trigger, but innately, the combos do not have anything special as of yet.
Right. Unlike the other weapons, which can have like
yes.
the cripple and the bleed and all that kind
exactly.
of. Yeah. And so this is the basic light attack combo. It does a small chunk of my stamina, but if I really want to just like go to town on everything around me, then that's when I start hitting my heavy attack, and then I spin to win, basically.
Yes.
And so this might look similar to what we've done with the like when you have a throwing axe in your offhand and a battle axe in your right hand. Like there's a spin attack there as well.
Exactly.
But that has an endpoint.
Yes. Yes.
This you can essentially keep on going until you run out of stamina, and you will continue spinning as long as you hit the heavy attack button.
Keep hitting. There is a finite limit, but that finite limit is quite high, my friend. So we can keep spinning for a while.
Have you tested how many clicks it takes?
I know, to out of stamina, that's based on...
Oh, I hit it. I actually hit it just as I ran out.
That's quite nice.
All right. So, you know, if you ever have like a horde of enemy just like sort of coming towards you, just like doing that. And then also you have, it's the same thing with the Star Metal Axe. Same basic idea. You spin around and you do a lot of damage. And for the control button does nothing, which for certain other weapons.
Yeah, I think this is we're running a little bit older build, and this is one of the things where you have to explicitly define it in the combo table. And once the shipping build actually goes out, that control key will have an associated kick with it. So everything should be pretty standard in regards to other weapon style.
I just need to really quickly check how the other streams are looking, because I heard some people had some issues with lagging. It seems like things are fine over on Twitch. Things look fine over on Mixer. Things look fine over on YouTube. So things look okay on our end.
Things look okay so
Things
far.
look okay on our end. So yeah, the control key will still have the associated kick with you, which you might recognize from other things. There was also a question I saw, which I actually hadn't prepared for, so I'm just going to spawn something in.
It's interesting. If this is an old build, I wonder how much of the other content is here. Well, I guess we'll see.
I checked in advance.
Okay.
I checked in advance.
Okay.
Like things should be here in advance. Someone also asked if you could chop wood with the battle axes. I don't think they're meant to be wood chopping axes, but yeah. And so
I wonder they probably want to be lumberjacks.
Yeah, for sure. Like if you want to channel your inner Canadian, then you know the two-handed great axe. That is your thing. And so obviously the idea is to eventually the idea is to put this on test live before we roll it out to live, so we can gather some valuable feedback. I also already saw someone in chat saying that the axe was a bit slow in like the wind up and the spin, which fair bit of criticism.
All of that will be balanced. We have to be we just have to put it in front of the people to make sure we get people get what they want, and then we can react to it.
Yep. All right. And so I also saw a question about how the short sword reacts with a shield, and it's basically the same as it was.
I guess one of the specifics was that the other sword, the long sword, for us, has a unique animation combinations when you have shield. For this, we chose not to extend or add extras until we see how this behaves in-game. There is a plan on paper for us to eventually look at these combinations, for example, with the shield, with the torch, with the bindings, with everything else in hand. We'll see how we go and act on it if we need to, when we need to.
So in terms of if I'm spinning around with this axe, can people interrupt me in the middle of this attack?
So this has, I'm assuming everyone on stream sort of has, they know how the game works. There are not invulnerability frames. It's what's the key word?
Hyper
armor. So while you are technically spinning, you are hyper armored. Therefore, you'll be unable to be knocked out of your spin, but you will take damage.
Right.
Now, what this automatically means is that realistically, for someone that wants to focus on two-handed axe play, you probably want to wear heavy armor also.
Yeah.
If you want to spin, you're going to try to keep winning. You want to have heavy armor because you might be getting hit. your spin will not be interrupted, and you'll just keep progressing, healing out, healing through the damage, and keep spinning, so on and so on and so on.
All right. Good to know in case people had had those questions how that was gonna go. I think they look really cool. Someone asked who designed these. We're not gonna necessarily name names, but I think it was one of our usual weapon designers.
Yes.
Yep. Cool.
They are really good and really fast, and they know what they're doing.
Absolutely. So those are the short swords and the two-handed great axes. Two-handed great axes also are gonna come with more variants in the Blood and Sand DLC. So tune in next week where we're gonna hopefully be showcasing some of that stuff. But for now, we're gonna move on to the battle standards, which is a pretty interesting
thing.
thing.
You should get more of those to show them the layering feature.
Sure. Let's see, battle standard. We're just gonna spawn in. Let's say 10 of them.
Sure.
So, the battle standards is a new feature and a new mechanic that will, in short, it will allow you to create PvP zones in your server. Anywhere you want, essentially.
Yes.
And the idea behind this, well, like we've had people on PvE servers and PvEC servers ask us like, hey, I want to duel my friends.
Especially in my own clan.
Yeah, especially in my own clan. I want to be able to like battle people, but I don't want to lose my stuff. Right. I want to be able to set up like a safe PvP zone, essentially. And that is basically what the battle standard allows you to do. And so if you are on a PvE or PvEC server, you can build whatever kind of
a wonderful place for conflict to happen.
Yes, absolutely. And then you plonk down this battle standard, which will then give you this option right here. And so anything within this zone of influence will be your PvP zone.
It will be an ad hoc opt-in PvP zone, specifically opt-in.
Yes, and so it's a tall placeable flag with 2 swords on the front. I'm just gonna hit yes here so you can see what it looks like within this area right here. And you can also see the walls around me are shimmering a bit. Like this is basically to show you the area of effect.
This is the other thing with one of the things that we did in later builds is that this was deemed a little bit too magic-y, right?
Right, sure.
So why is my world shimmering? So one of the things that happens in later builds is that there is a defined space where the battle standard will be affected, which is only visible while you're placing it and visible from all of the other banners already placed. If we try to place another one, we can double check actually to see if the functionality is in. So exactly, we can sort of see the shimmering, but in later versions, we can see a very defined normal grid layout shape that shows us exactly where PvP zones are currently active and where you place your new PvP zone. Therefore, you can connect them. You can make long PvP corridors. You can make squares, circle-ish things to do whatever you like.
So essentially, if I want to, I can make a big old arena, plonk down enough battle standards, and then everyone who enters my arena can fight. Yes.
Exactly.
And so we've implemented a bunch of special features and like functionalities to the battle standards because we want to prevent people from griefing and exploiting.
The key word here is opt-in.
Yeah. Yes. So
you opted into.
As you noticed when I placed it down, there was a pop-up box that said, "Hey, if you enter, this will enable PvP." You can say yes to it, which will enable PvP for that area and then any overlapping areas. If you say no, then you will refuse only for that area. If you say always, then you will opt into every battle standard
that you cross.
Yes, and if you click never, then you will opt out of every battle standard.
Exactly. Yep.
So we've also made it so that the battle standard has to be placed inside a building, essentially. So if I run outside for a bit. And I try to place my battle standard.
Yeah, we just saw the PvP flag disappear off your hotbar.
Yeah, and then it would also say it can only be placed on land claimed by you. So you can't use this. Well, other people can't use this to sort of like build something around you.
Build people in, right? And even if they do build you in, it's still an opt-in option.
Absolutely,
right?
Yeah.
So there was a question just here in chat about this functionality on PvP servers.
Yeah.
for the safety for safety's sake, we have chosen for the now to disallow this functionality on PvP servers. Right? This feature is primarily for friends to check each other out on PvP, on PvE, and what's PvEC?
Conflict.
Conflict servers.
Yes.
Excuse me. Yes. So, based on how well that goes and the use case, we will go back to this, reassess, and potentially allow this to also be used on PvP servers once we are sure there are no extreme abuse cases.
Yeah.
Right. This functionality really, it's very nice for friends within a clan to fight each other, and there are friends within a clan on PvP servers. Right. It makes a lot of sense. But we just have to be very careful with this sort of functionality.
Yes, and as we mentioned, like this is always opt-in. Like even though someone mentioned in chat here, like I can place down 2 foundations, make a land claim, and then put down the battle standard.
Exactly.
Any player who enters the area effect of the battle standard will get that pop-up saying, "You are now entering a PvP zone. Would you like to partake in PvP? Like, would you like to be a part of PvP combat?" Which means that if you just click no or click never, then people won't be able to damage you.
And PvP zones don't PvP buildings. Only players. Just for that question, right?
Only player versus player. There was another question that popped up, which was an interesting one. If we would do the opposite for PvP servers, essentially having sanctuary flags, so
That's
like turning off
thing.
PvP.
That's a very interesting thing. It's possibly an abusive thing. Which it would be something we think about.
Right.
We'll see.
Yes. And so, I also saw a different question that I was going to get to, which is amazing. What if I walk into a battle standard zone and then I click never? What do I then do if I want to join in on PvP?
So, we have to reset your settings, right?
Yes.
At some point, one day, you decide, actually, I want to see what happens when I fight so-and-so in that box.
Yeah.
Right? So we can go into your settings, clear them, and you'll again. Oh, that's actually quite a nice shimmer. Yeah, this shimmer.
So like that is your battle standard area effect. So this is like it's going to change. It's going to look a little different
very
once it's in the game.
Right.
And so PvP won't be enabled until you click yes upon entering the battle standard. So it's not like we've tried at least to like take every precaution we can for this stuff.
This can potentially, this item, if we are not careful with it, can ruin some people's enjoyment. So we have to be very careful. Very careful.
That is the idea, at least. But it is on a. I have it in my notes here. It is on a per client no, it's not. God, per
character
session basis. That's what it is.
Oh yes, exactly.
So like, if I then at some point, if I've yes, so since I left the PvP area, now it asks me again. So if I hit never, for example, or always in these cases, and I want to change that, then I'll have to log out, log back in again. But we could take a look at different ways of solving
Absolutely.
this.
Once we get the functionality into the game working relatively stably.
Yep.
Collect feedback.
Yep.
Act on the feedback. Give the people what they want.
Yes. So yeah, if you log out, then you essentially reset the always never choice, and then you can do what you want. Also, once you enter this area, and if you click no, you can still walk around in it.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
So let's say you don't want to fight, you just want to be a participant, then you don't have to stay outside of the battle standard area.
That's an interesting thing. I guess you could body block people and just crowd them.
Yeah, don't tell them.
Depending on how depending on how much of a troll you want to be.
Sure. I mean, there will always be.
There's always a way.
There will always be people.
Where there's a will, there must obviously be a way.
Yeah, and if you see people being dicks about this, then we will try to make the changes that we have. All right. And so I think also, at least it said so in my notes. I'm not sure if this is quite as visible on stream, but I was told that there would be like a beam of light to show people where
this is another thing. Is right. We have very important beams of light in the game.
Yeah.
Those beams relate to where you have god tokens.
Right.
Right. In the in the released version, we've chosen to take the beams away to make sure that there is no confusion about which beam belongs to what game feature.
Right.
So for the released version, at this stage, once you're in it, you'll get your pop-up menus. When you're placing them, you'll see placement options and then the highlight of currently placed flags. But there'll be no beams going into space.
Right.
You'll not be communicating with space gods.
So I was going to check the...
Yeah, okay. Sure, great.
Right. But then also there was a question. Let's see. Pitmonk says, you need to be able to stop players from entering a PvP zone, starting a fight, but then turning it off before death. Maybe once you're inside the zone, you're restricted from leaving for a time. That's a good suggestion. And
restricted from leaving for a time.
But like, how would you? It's an interesting suggestion, but there are some ways that we need to figure out how.
Exactly.
Yep. But so yeah, the like you will be able to see where like the area of effect of the battle standard is.
Exactly, and because you can also place these on your own land claim.
Yes.
Right. What we sort of expect people to do is build up a place where they think they want to fight, where essentially where they want to have duels with friends or maybe not so friends. They can go in and duel it out. Frenemies. They go in, duel it out. 2 people enter. One survivor leaves.
Yes.
Right?
And another thing about the PvP zone that's being generated by the battle standard is that you will not lose your inventory if you die. So if you fall, quality of life features. So if you fall within like the area of effect of a battle standard, then you will still keep all your stuff. You don't have to have someone be there as like a second to like rush in and just grab your things before everything sort of despawns essentially. And let's see, what else was there? Also, you will know that other players are eligible for PvP because they'll have an icon next to them.
Exactly. It's a little bit difficult to show here with our setup on multiple people, and then it's there.
Yes, it is absolutely there. I'm just going to click never because then, and then if I want to, I think I also can. Yeah, it says PvP enabled up in the left corner there. I think I also can, not in this build. I thought maybe I could turn it off, but maybe I couldn't. Nope. Anyway.
Dismantle the
thing.
We go. 3, 2, 1. And
Yep.
the buff disappears.
Nice.
You are no longer flagged for PvP.
Excellent. Thank you very much. All right. What else did I have here? Ba-ba-bum.
Let me look at these questions. What's going on here?
Then the battle standard also doesn't have land claim, so you can't just plonk down a bunch of battle
You need to
standards.
put it in your own land claim.
Yes. All right. I'm gonna turn on the lights on this.
Let there be light.
There we go. Freeze the sky. Freeze time. All right. So I think that's most of what I have about the battle standards.
What is our next point of interest?
Our next point of interest is something we talked about just the other day, some animation changes.
Ah, right. 3 weapons, animation reworks, hopefully for the better. We'll see how they're received. We think they're interesting. We'll see what everyone else thinks.
I think a lot of people who use these weapons in PvP, especially the last weapon that we're going to show off, are going to have some opinions about this stuff, but that'll be interesting. I also need to make sure that this chat window is working as it's intended. All right, here we go. So I'm gonna put away my short swords and great axes.
Oh look, they know what's coming. They can smell it
through
the camera.
They're clever people, clever people. Okay, so the first one is your basic longsword.
Yes.
And I mean you can take it from here.
So one of the key, not key. What's a more interesting way to put it? We would like to dilute down the role and gameplay identity of specific weapons. We discussed a lot of the sword, and we thought that it was a little bit confused about what it really wanted to do. Right? For example, on the light chain, if I remember right, the third combo step was a vertical slash from up till down, which meant that you had an AoE slash, a vertical slash, and then another AoE slash. So it was a little bit, I don't want to say dysfunctional. It was a bit confused about how it wanted to be used, right? Because you would hit with 2, you would generally miss with the other, or therefore you'd step over to your heavy chain before going back to the light finisher. Yes. So we we try to address that by emphasizing emphasizing the role identity of the sword.
Yes. And so basically what we've done is we've changed changed some of the stuff on the heavy combo. The light combo I think remains as is. Almost.
So if we go 1, 2, 3.
This is new.
That third swing beforehand used to be a straight vertical chop that would more often than not miss whatever you're trying to hit.
Yep.
We change it to be more horizontal, give you more area coverage, and we will see how it is received.
But I think this makes it more like it's more of a slashing weapon now than the stabbing weapon, at least on the light combo. Absolutely. Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. That's another feature. So one of the other role identity focuses that we wanted to give to the sword was that we wanted players to allow the combo steps to potentially linger a little bit. As you linger, if I remember right, it's 15 frames, maybe 20 frames. I can't quite remember off the top of my head. It allows it to linger. Therefore, you can more easily transition into other combo steps. For example, if I hijack the mouse again, Jan, thank you. 1, 2, 3, hold, combo, combo, hold, combo. Or we can go at full speed, which is click, full speed.
Yep. You might recognize this from the combos that we have with the great hammers, where you do one swing and then there's a pause for half a second to a second, and then if you want to, you can go into either a heavy swing or a light swing,
or dodge, or whatever else people want to do.
So it's a way for you to sort of pull like a bait and switch stuff.
Exactly. Yep.
What was it you were pointing at?
This moves quite quick for me.
Yeah, it does.
I'm trying to catch one, then focus, and then we'll see what happens. We can go into the heavy.
All right. And so for the heavy, it still opens with a stab, but then it follows it up with a second stab, and then it turns around, and then it's a simple horizontal slash at the end.
The previous iterations was that the two lunges, the first lunge was traveled for more distance than the second, and then we transitioned into a area swipe. And then finally, you would finish off with a jumping chop.
Yep.
That jumping chop, the amount of time that the character would spend in air while being root motioned, more often that resulted in that the attack would miss. Right. So we're like, okay, right. So this isn't particularly engaging for people to use because it misses. So why would I use this? Right. So we said, okay, we're gonna standardize the lunge ranges for the two lunges. So the distance you travel is a bit longer overall, but between them, they if I remember right, we shortened the first a bit and extended the second to match.
Yep.
And then the step 3 and step 4 of the combo chain are 1, 2. And both of those steps apply, what's the key word?
I think it's cripple.
Cripple, exactly. They both apply
which
cripple.
Will slow down your enemy.
Exactly. And because the fourth step no longer leaps through the air like a superhero, you could actually potentially land it in tricky situations.
So if you're chasing after someone, then this would be it's a way for you to sort of get back that distance that you might have on them, and then follow it up with 2 slash attacks, which will cripple them and not allow them to run as fast as they want to.
Control the space much more elegantly.
And as a lot of people have already noticed in Twitch chat, Scooper has entered the stream on Twitch. One of our developers, who I mistakenly called not a developer on the stream. I'm very sorry about that. But I mean to say that he wasn't a designer; he's a coder. That is what I meant to say way back then.
But he's a very lovely person that works very hard and does amazing things.
Yes, we are eternally grateful for the things that Scooper does for us. All right, yeah, and I've been messing up that door a lot because I've been fighting my way through it. All right, and so next up we come to the two-handed greatsword.
So this is the same approach. What is the role identity of this? How do we want players to use it? What of the current playstyle does not match that role identity? So for the two-handed sword, the new combo is along those lines. Actually, let me 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
Is this an older build than you would have liked to use?
Older build. Anyway, but the intent is there. So again, we standardize the role identity where everything is in the same playstyle. These are cone attacks of timing, and they generally don't have any awkward animations in them. So if I want to affect the space in front of me, I will swing. I'll be more often than not guaranteed to get the effect that I want.
Right. So this will always be, a swing that's mostly aimed at the front of me, but like I can also hit things that are on the sides if I want to.
The idea was that we make this the two-handed greatsword is the fastest two-handed AoE weapon that we in terms of role identity that we have in the game.
Right.
And we're going to be trying to support that role identity over time going forward, tweaking it up and down based on feedback and testing.
All right, cool, interesting. One person, Jay Bone, says over on YouTube, it seems redundant to have a one-handed sword and a short sword. So could you maybe explain a bit about the different weapon rolls that they have?
This is a build where we can do admin commands. I'm wondering if we can show them the hitboxes of the actual weapon attacks. This, I don't know if we've done this beforehand.
We have never done this on stream.
So I'm a little bit skeptical of doing this.
We've never done this on the stream
So
before.
let's not risk it for a biscuit.
Yeah.
Essentially, the one-handed sword attack animations are area of effect that cover, I would say, roughly 180 degrees to the front of the character.
Right.
Right.
So these ones.
These ones roughly cover about 180 degrees to the front of the character.
Yep.
With the short sword, that is much more reduced, where it's almost the size of the character capsule. Therefore, if two friends are standing next to each other and they're swinging and they're attacking with a short sword, hopefully, the chance of hitting each other is radically reduced than when they use a standard sword.
Right. So the idea is to not damage your friends with the short sword.
Yes.
Whereas the long sword is a bit more of a wild weapon, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Jump in and start swinging.
Yeah, as Gaijinho points out, short sword is more precise. It's slightly like a fencing weapon, sort of.
Absolutely.
Whereas the sword is Okay, great swords. We talked about the light swing, which is more even more damaging in the area around you. Now the heavy swing has gotten some changes as well.
Let's click it before we start speaking, just to see what's happening. Click. Let's go away. Click. 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 Boom. Okay, exact. So, just
as
to
you expected.
Just to check. Yes.
Yep.
Again, role identity. The role identity of two-handed great swords. We would like to put them as the most, not the easiest weapon to use, the most lenient two-handed weapon to use for players, right? So. Yep. They beforehand, if I remember right, the combo step 1 had a chop attack, and combo step 4 had a upswing and a jump attack. What would happen is that combo step 1 would never land because it would be sidestepped by in PvP or by NPCs strafing, and combo step 4 the players would jump off into space and leave the fight. So we decided we're going to remove that, focus down on the role identity where it's an AoE weapon. We apply snare with every attack, even though it's not visible here with the traces. We will apply snare with every swing of the sword, with each step.
Snare being cripple?
Excuse me, cripple.
Right.
I'm sorry, I'm talking technical back end of the system. Yes, we will apply cripple with every swing, so you can control the fight effectively, elegantly, and in style. Now,
a lot of spinning.
A lot of spinning, right. Can you press the control key? I want to see what happens.
I can press the control key. I tested this in advance. So, for those of you not in the know, what we have done is we have taken the chop attack and we have shifted it to control instead, which was used to be a kick motion, like this.
Exactly, yes.
So if you want to do a lot of damage like straight ahead in front of you with the two-handed hammer, Jesus. Two-handed greatsword, thank you. Then the control key is the way to go.
This is like, for the people noticing the stamina bar, it's a little bit deceptive. In the release builds, that's also deceptive, by the way. So if you want to do this, you'll commit. You'll commit for the better part of let's say 1.5 seconds. If you hit with it, and it will cost you about 75% of your stamina bar.
Right.
If you hit with it, you will be rewarded. You will be rewarded. I promise.
Yeah. So things are still up to change, and I've pumped my character full of a lot of grit in this character build. So there's still some tweaking happening down the line, and as we mentioned, like this is it's a slightly older build than the one that we have internally right now.
Unfortunately.
Yep. But so yeah, the greatsword now has a pretty big arc. Like you hit 360 degrees on at least 2 of these attacks. So if there's people coming around, like for all of you, then
go in, start swinging, be rewarded. One standing, get the chop out.
Yep.
Chop, dead.
Damn it! I'm trying to find a decent NPC that I can fight. Let's just go. Yeah, exactly. See, now I feel like I'm wasting time.
No, it's okay. I'm pretty sure they want to see an NPC get chopped in half.
Backhand fighter, Sumerian.
See what happens.
See what happens. There he is.
Is he gonna act first? Hey,
there he is.
Oh. Whoop. Yeah, I like the dodge. Oh, you missed. No.
There we go.
Huh?
That didn't do a lot of damage.
Huh? That's not intended.
That is not intended. That actually
Not intended.
That didn't do as much damage as I had hoped it would.
It'll be fixed.
Boom. Boom. Nice.
Oh, I like the dash through.
I actually speared him right through, and I chopped off both of his hands. All right. So, finally, let's talk about the pikes. And the reason we're laughing is because there's some overhauls in pikes, and most people who play Conan Exiles, who play it on a certain level, they know about what's known as the spear meta.
Are we frozen?
We are frozen again.
I really like looking at chat.
Yeah. I mean, it's a really good piece of software, but sometimes it gets a bit overwhelmed, so it crashes, unfortunately. But a lot of people know about the spear meta. We absolutely know about the spear meta.
Oh, we know.
And whenever we do something to spears, there's always a reaction from people. Yep. Like MG Gnome said that they're crying and shaking. Diego Lavaga says, "Oh no, spears are coming."
That's a cool name for a spear that we might. I like this.
Britney Spears meta, yeah, that's pretty good. All right.
What would Britney do? She'd spear you once and twice.
She would hit them, baby, one more time.
Oh, I like it. I like it, guys.
Okay, so
to listen to that now.
I think the
that's the same.
The right-click attacks are the same.
We have not touched the right-click attack.
Yep.
Our focus was what is the role of the spear, right?
Yes.
The role of the spear is a single target weapon that you can use with friends.
Yep.
To poke people down or keep them at bay. Do the left click.
I heard you swallowing before you asked me to do this.
Do the left click to see what happens.
All right, so
just to see where we are.
Again, this is the right click.
Okay, no, sorry.
This is the regular right click.
Right, okay.
As it was before.
I'm ready.
Here's the left click.
Yes, great, exactly. So, the left click beforehand, for those that remember, was a wild swing that covered 25, not 25, to about 270 degrees worth of your character.
Yep.
Right? It was, because the spear does so little damage, and the rate of those animations, it was not supporting the role identity of the spear. If you want to swing wildly, you will choose another weapon. So we just asked ourselves, what do we want to do?
Mm-hmm.
Does people like stabbing with the spear? Why do they have this AoE attack when they can use another weapon for AoE attacks? So, okay. So give them more stabbing.
Yeah.
How can they get more stabbing? Well, we'll put it on the other click.
And based on the reactions that I see from people, like this is a positive change, at least for most of these guys. Yeah.
They know what they want.
They know what they want. Absolutely.
I'm glad we sort of nailed it all. Well, we'll see if we nailed it also. We'll see.
Someone did point out that while they did like the spinny stuff, they understand why
exactly. Yes.
So the right click will propel you forward and have you do some acrobatics.
Still there's a level of threat that you can generate with the spear. It's not as much threat as you can do with some of the other very dashy weapons.
Yes.
But there is still some.
And the light click is now basically pokes.
Exactly. So for example, you and two friends can absolutely check this door. And by check this door, I mean try to prevent people going through it or pushing through it without hurting each other, and hopefully by hurting the enemies lots.
So I can stand in this door, for example, and
stand in the door. Specifically the keyword here. Stand in the door.
Yes,
and not be pushed out.
So I'm in gold mode right now, which is why he's not hurting me. Yeah. But usually he would also be able to.
Oh, look at that explosion!
Yeah, I poked him so hard with the spear that he exploded. So yeah, it's a way for you to keep people at bay, essentially. Yes. And then if they will need to figure out a way to be able to get to you and maybe damage you. But like
there are ways to do that.
Yes, like you can pull out a bow, you can pull out a javelin and throw it at them.
Whip a shield and just walk forward.
Yes, for example. Can you light poke while walking?
No.
No. You plant your feet.
Exactly. There is no movement in the light attacks.
Yep.
If you want to exercise threat, you will use the heavy attacks to proceed to threaten whoever is in front of you.
So yeah, you can. I think you can still move and then use the dash forward, and then you will do the heavy combo. But you will not be able to move while you're using the light click.
Yes, exactly.
The Pike change makes sense. You guys are nervous, but I think it'll be well received. Maybe.
We'll see.
So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, it's like whenever you, in a game like this, whenever you touch something that players really like or players have gotten really used to.
The used to is the key
word. There's always
right?
this like sense of, well, what will this do? Like, how will people react to this thing that we're doing?
I like that. You're probably going to do that.
Shield and Pike isn't a possibility, but Shield and Javelin is a possibility.
That's so. We were very light in terms of the reworks that we chose to put into this patch.
Yeah.
This is one of the things that I want to keep progressing through our game, where we need to nail down the role identity, nail down how people like to use something, and focus it. Right?
Yeah.
If they want this, we'll give them more of it because it's what they want. If they want something else, they will choose another weapon to exercise their play style and play choice.
Yes, 100%.
And that, by the way, it's just changes for the base game, right? So everyone gets this.
Yeah. Like, it's not. No, we're never gonna have you like buy balancing patches. No way. Like balancing patches are always free. I should actually mention that battle standards free. Short swords and two-handed axes free. The animation changes free, obviously, because that's the thing we do. And throwable shields would have been cool, but I think it's a bit too Captain America for the Conan universe.
That's what yeah, right, exactly. Double shields? No, that's not.
As far as we know, that hasn't happened in the Conan universe. Though Conan he throws things sometimes. He throws like
Conan
axes.
Is a thrower.
He does sometimes. Okay, so. That is the weapon animation changes. It wasn't as bad as we thought it would be.
Great. Not only was this great, it's even better in shipping builds.
Yeah, because he has the later version of
yes.
all this. What did I have in here, by the way? Oh yeah, that was this stuff. All right. So next up, we've got a couple of minutes left before we close out the stream. So let's talk about some of this stuff, which you're already seeing the...
which that note, by the way? I don't know what that note is.
That is the memory of oils. So the last thing we wanted to talk about today is some new mod kits and something we're introducing called weapon oils. So this is stuff that's also coming in update 37, also for free. And the idea is to give you a lot more options when using mod kits on your weapons or
to
on
change
your,
things
your
up
armor.
a little bit. Yep.
We actually should have had Vlad here because I think he made the system.
Yeah, no, he was responsible for the implementation and design of these things.
Yeah.
I guess going forward in the future, we'll try to pull people into this because they can talk more elegantly about exactly what they did and why they did it and what we think about them.
Yep. So weapon oils are like the sort of top tier of weapon buffing that you can do, and you get these by, of course, exchanging fragments of power at the unnamed city. And the chat is frozen again, unfortunately.
Unfortunate.
So we'll just open that back up again. And you purchase them from the Archivist with fragments of power, and they craft it at the Fireball Cauldron. And the idea is that oils will give you they will give your weapon a certain buff, but at the cost of something else. There we go. No, wait.
Huh?
What?
Oh,
it's damaged, so it cannot be modified.
Oh, of course. Interesting.
This is also damaged. This isn't damaged. There we go.
Cannot be modified with modification. Okay, game. Let's get some other items.
I thought I tested this.
Yep.
All right, freshly spawned. There we go. So much like with when you're applying any sort of modification kit to your weapon, this will also get a purple highlight, and you will see the item next to it, the one that you're giving.
The effect, exactly.
Yes. And so I think this was the Oil of Balance, which gives you, like, it decreases your weapon's stamina cost per attack. There's also Oil of Bounty, which increases the harvesting rate of any tool you apply it to. There's the Oil of Concussion, which increases concussion damage. Oil of Penetration, which increases armor penetration. Don't giggle. And there's the Oil of Agony, which increases weapon damage. Now, the thing is about weapon oils is that they will slowly degrade your weapon as they are applied.
Yes.
So you can see the timer right in the lower, like underneath my weapon here. So whenever I equip my weapon, like that timer starts ticking. And once that timer hits 0, we're not going to wait until it hits 0 because
we're not going to wait for 21 minutes.
We're going to wait for 10 minutes.
We've got 21 minutes to go.
And essentially it will have a tiny sliver of weapon endurance left, and then you'll have to repair it.
Yep.
So it's kind of it's meant to be like a risk reward thing. Like you get a buff on it, and then once that buff is done, like your weapon will essentially break fairly quickly.
Right.
That's the idea, at least. And then also the new type of weapon kits, which includes like...
This is a higher tier than what we already have in the game, friends.
Yes. And so for the weapon kits, they also give you a buff and then a debuff at the same time. So for example...
It's a playstyle choice here.
Yes. So for example, you can increase melee damage and armor penetration, but then like your durability goes down. Or you can increase light attack damage, and then heavy attack damage and durability goes down. You can increase armor strength, but that also reduces durability. It's expensive to craft, etc. So if you want to use some of these more advanced weapon and armor mod kits, then there's another, risk reward.
It's a choice.
Yes.
People like choice.
I think it's good to give people choices. Yeah, I think. Cannot modify the items that are damaged
because they've all hit the ground there for the
because I've been swinging around with these things for like a crazy person. Let's take this one and maybe this one. Let's see, Oil of Agony. So yeah, it's the same thing as we've done before.
Oh.
So as you can see, for like these, and so the timer that you'll have on your weapon depends on the tier of weapon. Yes. So as you can see, I did the
stone daggers.
Yeah, I did the Oil of Penetration on my stone daggers. They're gonna last for like 3 minutes and then they're gonna die. Yep. Whereas my longsword is gonna last for 20 minutes. My iron longsword is gonna last for about 15 minutes, and then this is also that I just use a regular, weapon fitting kit on this.
Which is why it does not have the time at the bottom.
Exactly. Very good. And yeah, we're gonna release all this stuff in a blog post around the time that we actually post this update to live. Also, when we post it to test live, which we're gonna do at some point in the future before we launch
TM.
it. Very, very soon. TM. And then you're gonna get to read more details about what everything is. As for DLC, we're most likely going to stream that next week, so tune in then. You're going to be treated to some of the stuff that we have in the Blood and Sand DLC pack, which is coming out early September. As for the later DLCs, you're just going to have to wait and see. Was there
They're going to wait and see what the DLC is.
Yes. They're going to wait and see what the deal is with the DLCs. The deal with the DLC, the DLC deal. God.
It's going quite fast to me. I'm trying to find something interesting to pick up on.
We at the moment have over 800 viewers across 4 different platforms.
That's great.
So yeah. But I think that's it. I think we have time for a couple of questions if people want to know. Blood and Sand is a Dune themed. It is not Dune themed. We're going to talk about what the theme is most likely next week. So you're going to get to see that then. And for the time being, I'm going to switch over to this view. Hey, there we are.
That's really awkward. Looking there, the camera is there.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. And then if you look there, like everyone's just going to see your cheek. It's all weird. Okay.
Questions. Fire.
Questions. Fire away.
Fire slowly.
Did we get any clarification as to when a PvP flag is placed? Will buildings, etc. be able to be damaged on a PvE server? No, they will not.
That PvP battle standard is only for players.
Yeah.
You do not PvP buildings with the battle standard.
Yep. It's only like it's in the name. PvP. Player versus player.
Yes.
Absolutely. Is Joel doing okay? We slipped lunch into his cage. Joel is absolutely doing okay. He's just working on other projects right now. Like that is what he does. Do we have big features in the works to grow the player base? I do think we still have a couple of dungeons that we want to release at some point.
Yes, I don't remember exactly how many, but we are definitely working on dungeons.
Yes, and I know
everyone
that
likes a good dungeon.
Yes, I also know that you have some plans in the works that you want to do eventually.
So, yeah, like for example, when we talked about the weapon reworks, the same sort of idea is in progress for the base not the base implementations, for the changes and improvements to the base combat system, right? So there is a certain thing we want to reach where combat is engaging both for the attacker and defender. It's less frantic, more focused. We're doing some internal playtest and discussion to see how we can do it, what the best way is of doing that. Should we do it? I think that's really a community question, but I sort of think people want to see some changes to the game. We're going to get there.
Yep.
Not a lot is happening on that front for Blood and Sands, simply because we're a little bit tight on time. So we introduced very light things in the next patch. Right.
There is more coming.
There is more coming.
I did see a couple of people say that they were a little bit disappointed about what we, did show and didn't show, but there is still more stuff coming. Like as you know from the season pass, there are 2 more DLCs planned,
Exactly.
and the idea is to also have some updates that will come out alongside of these DLC plans. And I think also, I think this froze again, unfortunately.
It doesn't like being run. Yeah. See if we can unfreeze it and get some couple of building system with many snapping issues. Okay, no.
What happens to the oil timer when you repair the weapon? Does it reset? I actually don't think you can.
You can't repair while it's oiled up.
Yep.
You cannot repair while it's oiled up. I think that's true. Yes, we should definitely get Vlad in, or whoever makes the feature next time around, to be able to 100% accurately respond to these questions.
Yeah.
Do you think expose? Oh, crossbows, dual wield bows, dual wield crossbows.
Dual wielding crossbows. I think you need some sort of reload thing for that, but
for the long time players, they remember there used to be a crossbow in the game.
Yes.
Technically, it's still in the game. It's just not usable by players. We will see, depending on how badly people want it.
I think I think previously we've outright stated that crossbows just aren't going to make it in because we would rather focus on the bows and have
exactly.
But
nail that playstyle down. Make sure it's good.
Yeah. See, people remember the crossbows. Yeah. Fliss has been with us since early access. I remember. So, did we talk about an all new building piece in an earlier chat? I think maybe you'll get to see that at some other point.
They don't know yet, do they?
They don't know yet.
They don't know yet, do they? Oh.
All right. Let's see.
How are we doing on time?
We're doing on time. We're on about an hour-ish. So let's see. More hairstyles ever. I don't think that's in the works right now, but maybe things will change.
We could do it, potentially, depending on how badly people want it. Make some noise, maybe we'll do it.
One thing that came up, though, are we nerfing claws? And I know you have some opinions about the Jebel Sog claws.
Right, so next patch. That's it.
Fingers crossed. Now you've committed to this now. It's on the internet. It's on the internet now.
They said close. I just said next patch. I didn't commit to anything.
Fingers crossed. Okay. And on that bombshell. Bombshell. I think we're gonna leave it here. And thank you so much for joining us on this live stream on YouTube, on Mixer, on Periscope, or on Twitch. And thank you so much to Nicole for holding it down in chat. She has been an amazing person. And tune in next week for some DLC info. What?
I just like that question.
What was the question?
Mounts? Question mark?
Yeah, I mean, it happens all the time.
It happens a lot?
Yes, it does happen a lot. We have no news to share about mounts at this time, as we have mentioned before. All right. Thank you, Alex, for joining me.
It was wonderful to be here. I'm still a bit nervous, but I like it.
I do think Alex is going to be back on a couple of other live streams where we talk about future changes and all that kind of stuff, and maybe some of the other people from the design team can join us as well. Thank you to Scooper and Rob for joining us in chat. Shout out to them as well because they're developers here and they sometimes like to
we need to get Nicholas in here also.
Get in that Twitch chat and hang out.
Get Scooper in here also.
We should have him in here, absolutely. All right. I'm going to push the button, and we're going to take us out. So, bye, everyone. See you in a week.
Bye.